Welcome back after the break, and we're going to continue with question 4.6. And we're looking at economic geography because they're referring to the PWV Gauteng industrial area. Now, obviously, it's the biggest contributor to the GDP. A lot of processing and manufacturing taking place in this area, but obviously we have some problems because of this massive manufacturing taking place in this region. Now, first of all, if you look at the first question, 4.6.1, what does the abbreviation PWV stand for? It's basically the area in Gauteng, but it stands for Pretoria Witwatersrand Vereniging. 4.6.2, the discovery of which mineral led to the development of the PWV. Now, if you look at the history of Gauteng, and Johannesburg is known as the city of gold, gold was discovered in Johannesburg. Now, that led to a massive influx of a lot of people moving to the area because of the mining of gold. Now, keep in mind, because of the mining of gold, many functions increased. It used to be a primary activity, but eventually led to high order functions because of manufacturing taking place and trying to move the product from one area to another area. So 4.6, the correct answer over there is gold. Now 4.6.3, if you look at it, name one mineral that you have studied and explain how it contributed to industrial development in the region. Now there's a couple that we're going to use, but just quickly use gold. If you're from the Johannesburg area or the Northwest area, we can use gold as an example. Now, when we look at gold, it has led to the growth. It contributed to the export market because we use it to trade. So it produces foreign income for the country of South Africa. A second reason is provides raw material for processing. So processing can take place because of gold, so we create secondary activities regarding because of gold. Now, if you move to the Northwest province, close to Rustenburg, another raw material that we have is platinum. Now, it's led to chemical industries, and obviously car manufacturing companies. And once again, it leads to processing, creating more employment opportunity, not only for unskilled people, but skilled labor as well. And lastly, another massive raw material that South Africa do have and where a lot of people is employed is coal. So it's, first of all, it generates electricity. Secondly, we can use it for fuel. If you think of Sasol, okay, electricity is Eskom, obviously. And obviously we use it for cement as well. So many purposes, and a lot of other companies and industries exist because of this primary activity that we basically have in South Africa. Now, if you look at question 4.6.4, explain how the problem of water scarcity was overcome in the PWV Gauteng region. Now, we did a water transfer scheme. So we basically, what we've done is transfer the water from one area to another area. And I've explained to you earlier in the program, the Lesotho Highlands project. So what we basically do, before this, we had water restrictions You were not allowed to water your garden, let's say, between 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. You were not allowed to fill up your swimming pool. So water restrictions was a necessity before we had this water schemes running. And then what we also have done is we started to recycle water. And I'm talking about sewage water, putting it through a system by cleaning it and being able to drink it again. So we recycled water. And lastly, what we've done, people start recycling rainwater by using JoJo tanks, etc. And that's quite a very green manner, green environmentally way to recycle water. Now, if you look at our next question, 4.6.5, explain the contribution of this industrial region to economic growth of South Africa. Now, first of all, if you look at Gauteng, it's the smallest province in South Africa, but the greatest population live there. So you need to keep in mind a lot of pressure has been put onto our resources, not only natural resources, but also the infrastructure of Gauteng. I'm talking roads, I'm talking electricity, I'm talking open space, because of the amount of people living over here. But the contribution, because of this area, the PWV, because of Gauteng, people want to move over here, people want to live over here because of employment opportunities. Now, what makes Gauteng so wonderful is, not only is there primary activities, secondary and tertiary, primary activities, there's secondary processing, tertiary service delivery, and quaternary research activities as well. And that means when we look at employment opportunities, there's work for unskilled workers like laborers, and there's employment for skilled workers. Now, skilled workers is people who usually have a tertiary education or a diploma in a certain trade. And that's the reason why we see, if you look at Gauteng, the reason why the population is so massive, because we have this influx of the rural-urban migration taking place, because there's a lack of employment opportunities over there, even for the unskilled people, and because there's more tertiary activities over here for the people to become skilled workers. Now, another reason that we can mention over here, there's provision for a market. There's a market for the raw materials. So instead, what our other provinces do, they take the raw materials and they ship it away, like for instance China, and then we buy it back. But what happens in Gauteng? We take that raw material and we process it into a final product, and then we only ship it away. And that makes us more profitable on the end of the day. Another reason, like I've mentioned, we earn foreign income, because what do we do with the final product that I've just mentioned? We export it. And that earns us foreign income. Now, with all this foreign income being generated and being money made of, what does it do? It adds to our GDP. And when it adds to our GDP, the government can provide us with better services. So it develops our transport routes. And it again gives us access to other places in South Africa. And lastly, what I can mention over here as well, most importantly, it contributes to the GDP. So you could have mentioned any one of those, why it's so important, and how does it add to the GDP, the contribution to Gauteng, mostly because it provides job opportunities and it provides a government money to improve our standard of living. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. See you next time around. Cheers.